Yo, what's up, Broncos country? This is Eddie with Colorado Sports Connection, and I am joined by my new co-host tonight, Mohamed. He's gonna be a regular on here with me, and tonight we wanted to talk about the draft picks that we got, Bo Nix, all them, and the unrestricted free agents that we signed. So, with that said, let's get into it. So, Mohammed, what was your initial reaction when the Broncos went on the clock at 12 and drafted Bo Nix?
Honestly, Eddie, I wasn't like really high as I mentioned before in the groups on Bo Nix, but um, I guess once the Falcons picked up Penix, I was like, that kind of makes sense that the Broncos are probably gonna go ahead and select Bo Nix if that's who they were going with, because you know Sean Payton made it really hard to figure out what he was doing. JJ McCarthy, Bo Nix, I mean. But once the selection was made, I was kind of surprised, but then I was like, that actually makes a lot of sense, especially after I heard what Sean Payton had to say about Bo Nix, and I went back and I was looking at the highlights, and I'm like, this is actually a perfect fit. That makes a lot of sense. Now, a lot of people were saying that, well, he's like a second round pick. Why did they pick him so high? No, if this is your quarterback, you go ahead and pick him. You don't wait. Because if you wait, the Raiders might come and get him. The Rams, I heard the Rams were thinking about getting him too. So, I mean, yeah, if this is the quarterback you're going with, go ahead and pick him at 12. That's not, to me, it's not too high. And then at the same time, we didn't lose any picks, Eddie. Like, you remember we were thinking about JJ McCarthy and all the capital we had to give up and stuff. I'm glad we didn't do that. So, hey, that works for me. The kid got a lot of experience. Sean Payton really likes him. Very smart, very quick processor, as they say. So, hey, why not?
Yeah, I hear you. Well, everybody knows my stance on it, man. I was
Yeah.
excited. I was a Bo Nix guy pretty much all off season. Like I wouldn't have been upset, like I said. Like if originally I was like I wouldn't be upset if they traded up to get a JJ or a Drake May if that's who Sean Payton wanted. But I was like, yeah, I'm gonna be a little upset if they trade back and they don't get a quarterback. But whenever the selection was made, I was excited. Like I was jumping for joy, even on this channel, man. Like you could ask the guys in here, I was just jumping for joy. I was so excited. Uh, but yeah, like all them people that were talking, saying, "Oh, we should have still traded back. We could have got him." No, we couldn't have. Honestly, if we would have traded back, even just a couple of spots, even back with New Orleans or the Colts, I believe either New Orleans or the Raiders would have snagged him.
Hmm.
And then we'd be like, well, okay, I guess we're going into the season with Zach Wilson, you know. Um, but I am excited that they didn't have to give up, draft capital to move up, and that whole what do you think about that story where Sean Payton said, "Oh, we were, we kind of, scared the Vikings into trading up to take JJ." Do you believe that or no?
I actually do believe that. He likes that stuff. I don't know, for whatever reason. He liked to sound really smart. And I mean, he is, and slick and all that stuff. He did. Now, was that the reason why they did that? I don't know. It sure sounds like it, because we were like, who was after them? Like, who was supposed to pick after them? No, like, it was just us. Like, as far as the quarterback, like, who was looking for a quarterback is the Broncos. So why would you jump like just one spot to go? That it didn't make any sense. Maybe they thought Sean was going to do that, so they jumped and got him. Hey, I'm glad we got Bo Nix. Seriously, like I would take Bo Nix over JJ McCarthy. That's just me.
No, I
So
agree. Like I like JJ, but I don't think he's going to be ready. Like initially, I said any rookie quarterback should sit for at least a couple of games after they get drafted, just to give them, some time to get ready.
mhm,
But if anything, Bo Nix is the most pro style ready quarterback coming out of college. Like
I
he's
agree.
most likely going to start week one unless some catastrophe happens, like he gets injured. Knock on wood. I'm not saying I want that to happen. Or if he's just downright terrible, and Zach Wilson winds up starting, which once again I don't think that's possible. I think you know he's gonna show out in camp and preseason, and he's gonna get to start week one. But the biggest thing was the thing that was the fun, well, not funniest, but what really threw the wrench into the Broncos' plans. Maybe they were going to trade back and still take Bo Nix, maybe. But the whole thing with the Falcons taking Penix, that pretty much threw a wrench in that plan. Like that was done. Like the second
Mind
they
boggling.
you knew the Vikings were going to take JJ at 10 or 11 or wherever they were at. So the Broncos, if they really thought, they really wanted a quarterback, which we know they did, I don't think Sean Payton was high on Penix. I think the draft board or the analyst came out and said, no, their big board was, Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, and Bo Nix was their top three. So if Penix doesn't get drafted by the Falcons, still don't think that really makes a difference. I still think they take Bo Nix at 12. Like I understand trading back, but the Saints could have took him possibly at 13 or I'm sorry, 14. So, it's just or the Rams could have traded up. Like I think that was a good decision for them to stay at 12, regardless of the Falcons drafted Penix or not, and just take him at 12. So but I'm excited about Bo Nix. I can't wait to see what he does. So moving on to the next guy, Jonah Ellis. I was stoked about this pick too. I really was like, they need pass rush help. They really do. Like I like Baron Browning. He didn't take that step forward last year like I wanted him to. Same with Nick Benito. Didn't really take that step forward. So they really needed some pass rushing help. I'm ecstatic about this, pick about Jonah Ellis. I think he's going to come in and contribute right away. What say you, Mohammed?
I agree 100%. Just the motor this guy has, just he just does not stop. He keep going, keep coming at the quarterback, and that's what we've been missing. I mean, since Von Miller left, and all the rest, I guess, of the things that happened. I mean, we don't have like a true pass rusher, and hopefully, Ellis can do that for us. I mean, you know, Benito. I guess if you put them both on the same, I mean that would definitely help. You know, and then the guy we got from the Jets too, that should help us as well. Myers,
Yeah.
right? Myers,
Yeah,
yeah.
and I think he's more of a run stopper. I don't think
Hmm.
he's a pass rushing specialist that's going to get after the quarterback. He's more like they brought Zach Allen in last year for the same reason, to help stop the run. And same thing with DJ Jones. Like 2 years ago, they brought him in for the same reason, like to help stop the run. Well, Zach Allen and DJ Jones, I mean, we were getting gashed in the run game last year. I'm hoping, like with those three together on the field, hopefully that does, help stop the leaky run game because they desperately need it. But I like Jonah Ellis coming off the edge. Like I watched a lot of his college tape. That boy, like, not only is he get after the quarterback, but he's got an eye for that football, man. He goes like I watched a lot of film on him, man. He goes after the ball. Like not just the quarterback, but he goes after the ball. And he's pretty good in the run game too. Like whenever it's a run play, he he really gets after the running back and like I said, he's got an eye for that football. Like he'll strip it out anytime he can.
Agree. And I think that D line of us is going to be sneaky good this year. People are not counting us, but I think our defense is going to be decent, with all the
I
additions.
really hope so. Like I know, like I said, you got the starting three. You got I think his name's Myers. You got Zach Allen, DJ Jones up front are gonna be your starting three. And then you got Awazarike coming back. You got Henningsen in there. I think Elijah Garcia is still he was on the practice squad last year. I think he'll be back this year. Like I do think they probably, I'm hoping one of these, unrestricted free agents that we're going to talk about here in a little bit. I hope one of them step up because we definitely need some depth on the defensive line. Like we got our starters, but I think we need more depth on the defensive line. What say you?
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, you could tell like last year that was kind of like a struggle, stopping the run, and this people just, running backs keep busting 30, 40 yards, that's not something that's gonna be helpful as for the Broncos. So hopefully, Myers, just that middle, like if they can stop the run, that will help definitely help the pass rushers as well. Because that was
Yeah.
one thing, like with Von Miller, he was always saying that Derek Wolf had a big impact on that line. Just putting that pressure on the middle, and we shall see. But I have a really good feeling about it.
Yeah, because that's kind of what I'm hoping. Like, if you got a guy like that on the defensive line that, is going to take a double team,
Hmm.
to, a couple of offensive linemen to block him, then you can have like a Jonah Ellis or Baron Browning or Jonathan Cooper or Nick Benito have one-on-one matchups and easily, hopefully, get to the quarterback, beat their man and get to the quarterback quick, because like they say, pass rush is a secondary's best friend.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, like I hope Zach Allen, DJ Jones, which I'm not expecting much out of, and especially Myers. I hope one of those guys are going to be like, I wouldn't say like an Aaron Donald, but like an Aaron Donald esque that's going to command a double team up the middle somewhere to where it's going to leave one of these pass rushers, outside guys, one on one with the tackle, to where they can get in there and get the quarterback and put pressure on him, especially with Mahomes. And now with Justin Herbert, because I strongly believe the Chargers are going to be running the ball strongly this year. They're gonna rebuild that offensive line. They're gonna build up the trenches, and they're gonna run the ball just like Harbaugh did in Michigan. He's gonna run the ball. So we definitely need to be able to stop that run game. Um, Next up on the list is wide receiver Troy Franklin. Now this one was a big, yeah, I was really happy about this pick because this to me signifies they're doing everything they can, not just for long term, but for this year too, to give Bo Nix everything he can to succeed.
Hmm.
Like you got Tim Patrick coming back, you got Cortland Sutton, you got Marvin Mims, you got Reynolds you brought in from free agency. Now you got a receiver that was Bo Nix's top target in college in Oregon, like, and you'll have Dulcich back. I think Sean Payton believes in Dulcich. I think he'll be ready to go and healthy for the start of the season. But man, they're giving this kid everything to be successful this year. So I don't think originally I was like, no, they're going to be bad this year. They're probably building year. Give Bo Nix the year, learn whatever. But if they're giving him all these weapons and Bo Nix is as pro ready as we think he is, like I don't see any reason why this team should not try, be in the playoff mix, if not make the playoffs this year. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that was a really smart pick, and like you said, that he's very comfortable with his wide receiver. Why not? And he was ranked really high, so where we picked him, that was actually a steal, if you think about it. And he's really fast, that speed, And like I said, they already have that connection. Why not? And like with Bonex, there's no reason why we should wait. You know, I think should week one he should like start. I don't see any reason why not. I mean, even if he's with, assuming we're not going to win any games, I think we're going to win more games than people expect us to. But yeah, why not? I think we're get that thing started quickly. Let him learn. And I'm not even like worried about the winning, to be honest with you. Like, just we got our quarterback, and let's let him learn,
Yep.
let him get comfortable with all the players and stuff. And that's one thing about like Cortland Sutton. Like, I don't know why he's not trying to play ball here. He's asking for. I don't want him to be traded. To be honest with you, I want him to. I don't work something out.
No, I
Bonix
agree.
could use the help.
No, I agree. Like I like Sutton. I think what it is for Sutton is that he's been here since 2018. Just like
Mhm.
I do remember earlier in the year, Bulls was like, I'm just getting tired of losing. I think Sutton feels the same way, but it's like, and I understand it to an extent because he's what 28 this year. He's going to be 30 in a couple of years. He's going to want one more probably big contract because once he hits that 30 mark, once receivers hit that 30 mark, they're not going to get big lucrative contracts like they did when they're in their 20s. So I don't think he's so much wanting to leave Denver. I mean, I don't think he likes the losing, but I do think he wants another deal. And that's understandable. He's trying to cash in probably one more time before he hits that age 30 mark, whether that's this year or next year. Like, I think if they throw him an extra few million this year, like $2-3 million on his contract guaranteed, he'll stay. Like, I ain't worried about it. He'll stay if he gets an extra 2 or 3 million on his contract. But after this year, he's probably going to want another contract.
Mhm.
And at that point, that's when you need to probably start thinking like, okay, can we afford him? Because you got guys coming up. I mean, what are you gonna do with Baron Browning? I understand you got Ellis, you got Cooper, but Baron Browning is probably your best pass rusher. You're gonna pay him. Sertan's coming up. He's gonna probably
Yeah,
want like
a
top
lot
of the
of
cornerback market money.
well deserved.
Who else? Oh,
Mhm.
go ahead.
No, I was saying like well deserved. Like he deserved that money, getting paid.
Yeah. And then you also got your stud right guard, Quinn Miners. His contract's coming up here in the next like year or so. So you got to pay him. You got to keep that offensive line intact to keep Bo Nix upright.
Mhm.
Um, like I said, and also Marvin Mims is still a few years away. I'm trying to think. Javante's probably going to want a new deal, but with running backs the way they are, they're probably not. Like I think that's why they picked up Esteman, the new running back out of Notre Dame. Not just because they're thinking about moving on from Williams because of the contract, but also because of the injury. Like he wasn't the same player he was the year before he got hurt. So they could be moving on from him. I'm just saying they got a lot of guys. Even Bowles. Like I think after this year, he's going to want another contract, or they're going to trade him and get another tackle. You know, so there's a lot of players coming up. Like if your wide receiver room stacked, you got Mims, you got Franklin. You know, maybe Tim Patrick if he stays healthy the year and he wants to stay here on a cheap deal. You got Reynolds for a couple years. Like I could totally see Sutton going after this year, but for just Bo Nix's growth into the NFL, I think keeping Sutton around this year would be a very, very smart move.
Exactly. Exactly.
You know, like I said, you know, you got a lot of contracts coming up. You got a bunch of these young players. You're going to have to decide whether if you're going to pay them or not. You know, so I'm excited about Troy Franklin. You know, I think that was a really good pick because he's fast. He's got chemistry with Bo Nix. You know, so this might make, you know, maybe trading Cortland Sutton or getting rid of Cortland Sutton next year if you don't want to pay him a little bit easier. He's still got Mims, who I think is going to be a stud. You got Tim Patrick and Ryan Reynolds. I mean, Tim Patrick only signed a 1-year deal, so he could be gone after next year. And then your wide receiver room going into 2025 could be Reynolds, Mims, and Franklin, which I'd be fine with, and add a couple guys for depth.
Exactly.
So, but the next guy we got on our list is Chris Drain, you know, the cornerback out of Missouri. Now, this one, I mean, I like it because it's a little bit of an insurance policy because we know, personally, I think Damari Mathis is a bust. I don't like him. I don't think he's that good as a cornerback, too. Like, we had him as a starter at the start of the season last year, and the kid was just getting burned on every play. Like, they were constantly throwing his way because he was getting beat consistently. You know, and I think this is an insurance policy because, you know, you got your nickel, you got your slot guy in McMillan, you got Surtain as your number one, you know, and if Riley Moss doesn't take that step up, or, you know, if Levi Wallace is spotty to where he's getting beat, you know, this is a nice insurance policy. You know, he could be, you know, and I know Drain, he's fast. Like I seen the guy run at the Columbine. I can't remember what his exact speed was, but even watching him on film, man, he was a speed demon on the outside. So what do you think about this pickup?
It's a decent pick. Definitely, like it'll be an upgrade. I think if you look at Mathis and all of them, and hey, why not let them all compete? You know, and like I said, that speed is something else, man. I mean, we'll see how it goes. I mean, he's not one of like the top cornerbacks or anything, but hey, where we picked him is decent. You know,
Yeah.
let's have some competition in the room. Absolutely.
Yeah. Cause we need, like, I know with Simmons gone now, we're definitely going to need some help in that secondary. You know, and like last year, it was just like, I mean, I'd say probably about mid-season, we had Fabian Moreau on the roster, and that was a decent upgrade over Mathis, in my opinion. But he was still getting beat a little bit too. You know, there were certain plays, you know, he get beat. You know, let's see, Drain. Oh, he ran a 4.44. Nice. So yeah, he's fast, but like, you know, like I said, Moreau, he's gone, but he was getting beat a little bit. Levi Wallace, I don't know how he's gonna, you know, play this year. He's only gonna be here for 1 year, and you know, if he was that good, I don't think he would have left Pittsburgh. You know, I think they would still keep him because you know Mike Tomlin loves defense. So I don't know. And if Riley Moss doesn't pan out, then you know it's nice to have that third, you know, option, you know, to
Exactly.
go to and give that kid some, you know, experience and playing time this year. So, and that, you know, I'm excited about it. Like, I think the kid, like, honestly, by the end of the year, I think our starting three corners are going to be Sertan, Drain, and McMillan in the slot. That's going to be my guess. Like, I'm not totally pulling the plug on Riley Moss yet, but I just don't know. Like, the guy last year, there was a few plays I watched of Moss last year. He got burned, but he also made up for it sometimes. Like, sometimes he would play perfect defense and he'd be out there and he'd get a, you know, pass breakup, you know, but I don't know, man. I can't see us going into the season with just Levi Wallace, you know, as our number two. Like they're going to be battling for that second cornerback position. I think ultimately, you know, I think by training camp over, preseason over, I think Drain's going to take that cornerback too, and he'll be the starter week one.
I can see
I
that.
like intangibles. Like he's always around the ball. He knows where to be. He's fast, you know, and especially in this league, now that the Chiefs drafted that new wide receiver this year, who's apparently one of the fastest guys in the draft, we're going to need that help. Definitely. We see what Kansas City did last year without receivers or receivers consistently dropping the ball. If this kid that they drafted this year turns out to be a stud, you're going to need help in that secondary and the pass rush. So,
Absolutely.
but the next player up here is Estimate, the running back we drafted out of Notre Dame. Now, this to me, great freaking pickup. Like to me, this means P Ryan's gone. I don't think they're going to keep P Ryan because if they cut him, they save $5 million. And you already got it back like that on the roster. McMillan. I'm sorry. What's his name? McLaughlin. He's that type of running back just like P Ryan, guy. To catch passes out of the backfield. He's younger. He's cheaper. He's faster. So I wouldn't be surprised if they cut P Ryan by the start of the season. And then you'll have that two-headed monster in the backfield with Javante and Estimate. They're both, bowling balls. If Williams come back healthy and back to his old self, there ain't nobody going to stop our run game. You're going to have two big guys just plowing through defenders, and then on third down, you got McLaughlin out there, and they're tired, and boom, they're going to hit him out in the flat for a big play. So what do you think of this pickup? I love it.
Oh my God, man! I was so excited when they got him. Like just the thinking of him and Williams just going at it. He's this big, powerful guy. He's got really good vision. Sky's the limit. I can't wait. Seriously. And like I said, he's just another one that actually dropped. I couldn't believe we got him where we got him. It's a really good pickup.
They said the reason why he dropped so far is because he's really, really slow because of how big he is. He's slow. I'm like, but that to me, that doesn't matter. Like if he's like Williams was a couple years ago, like two guys on his back, and he's just like chugging along, carrying them. You ain't gonna care how fast he is as long as if he can carry dudes and pick up extra yards before he goes down. But yeah, like that's what I love about it. Because like if Williams comes back to full form like he was before the injury, where he was carrying guys, you're gonna have Williams in there on first down, plowing over guys, and then you'll have, Estimate come in the next play, plowing over guys. And if you just keep running the ball consistently, man, because of course they're probably gonna do that a lot this year, because the running game is a rookie's best friend.
Yeah.
Until not Drake May. Bo Nix gets, acclimated to the NFL and playing at that level, and that speed. Like they're probably gonna run the ball a lot this year, and defenses are gonna get worn out by these two.
Exactly.
Like they're Javante runs like 2-3 plays, and then you get Estimate coming in, he runs 2 or 3 plays. The defense is gonna be like, okay, we're done tackling, we're done. Can you put someone else out there for a change? Can you throw the ball? And then honestly, that'll stack the box in Denver's favor. Mm-hmm. And at that point, I don't think even stacking the box is going to matter because these guys, they're going to keep rotating them in and out. One's going to be fresh, still run people over, but that's also going to open up that short intermediate game where Bo Nix thrives.
Yeah,
and he's going to be hitting receivers on timing routes. You're going to be bringing that safety up to, try to stop this run game. And Bo Nix is going to be like, bam, right over the top to like Franklin or Sutton or somebody or Mims. And a house call to the end zone. I'm excited to see it, man. I really am.
I mean, Sean has a plan, man. I mean, and he's executing. I really like that. And like you said, man, especially if they're playing in Denver with that elevation, defense is going to be exhausted. They're going to be tired. Keep running the ball. Just get them tired. Pounding the ball.
Oh yeah.
Short. Absolutely.
I honestly, I can see our home record this year being undefeated because if what you just said, like if we're running the ball like 30, 35, 40 times a game with those two, rotating them in and out, wearing a defense out, especially at this elevation, man, there's no reason why we should win every home game. I mean, I know that's a, long shot, but you know what I'm saying? Like, if you're just pounding the rock with those two and you're wearing defenses out and they can't catch a breath at elevation, man, they're going to have a hard time, stopping it. Honestly, I don't see them carrying 4 running backs. Like if they're going to be running the ball, like I think they're going to help Bo Nix out in his rookie year. Honestly, I think they're probably going to carry another 5 wide receivers, which dips into our next guy, the Devon Vale guy that we drafted this year. And like, I think, what was it, the 6th round or something? I don't think we're going to carry that many wide receivers this year. I think they're going to carry some more tight ends to help that run game, blocking wise. Like we know Sean likes tight ends. We know he likes, to run the ball, but we also know he likes those timing routes, like when Drew Brees got older, it was a short game, that Drew Brees would do, but they also ran the ball a lot or threw behind the line of scrimmage with their backs, to help Drew Brees out. So I just I don't think Devontae Vale is going to make this roster this year. I really don't. Like, I think they're probably going to carry 5 wide receivers, and with that room already being as stacked as it is,
Mhm.
I like Sutton's going to make the roster, Mims, Franklin's going to make the roster, Reynolds is going to make the roster, and then there's that fifth spot. I mean, you could have a battle there, with some of the young guys. I mean, you got Brandon Johnson, you got Humphrey that you brought back that's familiar with Sean Payton. Now you got this Vale guy that we drafted this year. You also got Brandon Johnson coming back in and Tim Patrick.
Mhm.
Like, there's gonna be a lot of people battling for that spot, but because I think they're gonna carry more than 4 tight ends this year. I think they'll carry about 5 to help with that run game. So, what do you think about that?
I don't know. I think it's like you said. The wide receiver room is packed. Like I don't know where he would fit. Maybe like a practice squad. I don't see him like beating anybody seriously. Um,
Mm-mm. For
I
that fifth
mean,
spot, no way.
exactly, exactly. It's stacked. And that's a good
I
thing.
mean,
Absolutely. I mean, you know. But yeah, I don't.
if
I
I had
don't.
to guess for that fifth receiver spot, it's either gonna be Tim Patrick or Jordan Humphrey. I believe
Yeah,
will be in that fifth spot,
exactly.
honestly.
Unless there's a
And
miracle and he's just really good. I don't see that, but uh,
yeah, that's the only thing that can help him, I think, honestly. But you're right. He could be a practice squad guy, or maybe even he could play on special teams.
special team.
But it's like if you got other holes on the roster that you would like to fill with a different position, like we saw Sean Payton only carry 5 receivers last year going into the season
Mhm.
because they have the fullback, they carried a buttload of tight ends because we knew at the start of the season or before the season started that they were going to run the ball a lot because I don't think Sean Payton trusts Russ that much, so they were wanting to run the ball. So I think it's gonna be the same thing this year. But after this year, I can see them like 2025. I can see them carrying like 6 wide receivers because if Bo Nix, turns out to be the guy we think he's going to be here in Denver under Sean Payton, they're going to be airing that ball out. They're going to be throwing a lot more than they are running at that point. So, um, yeah, I don't know. And then the last one is guard Nick Garolo. I guess his name is. I can't really say that name. Excuse me if I butchered it. But this pick to me, it was just a seventh round. Let's just see what we got in this guy. Maybe we can take him in the training camp, see if he could do something. Because like I do believe they might need some help on the offensive line, depth piece, just like the defensive line. You need depth. You
Yeah.
know, um, thankfully injuries last year for Denver wasn't that bad as it was in previous years before last year. But it's still nice to have that in case one of your guys go down. You know, um, I mean, I think he can play guard, he can play center. But and we know there's going to be a battle for that center position. But what do you think of this pick?
It's I think it's a good backup just in case something happened. But he was picked on the seventh round. I mean, I'm not expecting anything crazy from him. But yeah, why not? You never know with the O line now with the center position. That kind of worries me a little bit. I
Yeah,
loved Cushionberry. Didn't want to see him go, but we shall see. See that's the thing. Like the center. If we can get that right, that would help up, Bo Nix, especially since he's a rookie, a lot. You know.
well, that's kind of what I wanted to lead into with this too. Like, what about Alex Forsythe? Like, we know that he played with Bo Nix at Oregon.
Hmm.
Uh, like I know he's gonna be part of that competition. You brought in a guy, I forgot what his name was, but you brought in a guy from free agency. You know, they signed a lot of people to compete for that center position. Honestly, I would like to see Forsythe in there. We drafted him last year. Granted, he was a late round pick,
Hmm.
but he's got chemistry with Bo Nix. If the guy can block like in the run game and the passing game, like I think that puts him a step ahead. Honestly, Forsythe puts him a step ahead in the competition because he's got chemistry with Bo Nix from a few years back. So if they can work with him and get him, and he can block, start blocking better in the run and pass game, man, you might find your center of the future right there. And he's got chemistry with your quarterback, which honestly is one of the biggest important aspects of the offense to me is that chemistry between the quarterback and the center. You
Exactly.
know, knowing each other, knowing what each other's thoughts are, going, all that. Like with Jeff Saturday and Peyton Manning, great tandem right there. Like they need that. I hope he does win the competition. I hope the guy turns into a stud. Um, But like I said, they brought a lot of people in to compete for that center position. It's gonna be a fun competition to watch. But man, I'd be happy if Forsyth won that competition with the chemistry he has with Bo Nix and they flourish from there. What about you? What do you think about that?
Absolutely, absolutely, and he has an advantage of being familiar with Bo Nix. Absolutely, if that could work, that'd be perfect. Because, like I said, that's something that's gonna make you a little kind of worry about, what's gonna happen, especially if you have a rookie quarterback. But hey, he's they played together before, so hopefully they can just pick up where they left off, and we'll see what happens. You know.
Yep. And with all that said, man, like I wanted to get your take on this. Like we've seen over the last couple of weeks, draft grades. Oh, all these teams got these grades, for how they did in the draft and all this and that. Um, I think the Broncos. A lot of the people I've seen talk about the Broncos draft grade. A lot of them were D's. Um, a lot of these analysts gave the Broncos a D. Personally, I gave them a B minus because they filled some holes. They filled the edge rushing hole. They filled up another cornerback, competition in there. They brought in competition and maybe filled another hole at the running back position. They brought in more wide receiver help for the new quarterback. They filled their quarterback need. Like I feel like it's a B minus, but personally, I don't really like draft grades. I think they're pointless. Like these draft grades to me, like if you're going to draft a draft class for a team, like do it 3 years down the road whenever the team, these players have had like 3 years in the league to play and see what they can do. I mean, because like even Patrick Mahomes, I believe he was a C minus when he came out of college. And yeah, look how that turned out. So
Exactly. I mean,
what do you think?
honestly, like you said, it's very useless. But I mean, for me, it's like a B makes sense. Why? Because we addressed the main issue was the quarterback. You know, that was the issue that we were having, and now we have an offensive coach, and we got our quarterback. It's a quarterback that he picked, that he likes, that think is gonna work on the system. So hey, that's perfect. And like you said, it's all predictions. People don't really know. Like, do we know if Caleb Williams is going to be like, a Hall of Famer? No, he could be a bust. I don't know. It's just all predictions. It's all just we're just making assumptions, right? And it's all about where you land, which coach you land with. So the media will just say whatever they want to
Yeah,
say.
no,
Yeah.
yeah, I agree. It's just crazy to me, man. Like I don't understand these draft grades. It's just they're pointless. Like these kids could come in and ball out this year and or they could be a bust. We don't know. But yeah, I think draft grades are pointless personally. But with all that said, we went through pretty much the entire draft class that all the players that we drafted. Let's get into some of these unrestricted free agents that um, we picked up in the past couple of weeks ever since the draft. Um, I'm trying to think of where to go with this. A couple of them, like the Omar Brown kid, cornerback, he, I took a few notes on him. I liked him. I thought he was, solid. Um, he seems to be a great tackler, and he always seems to be in the right place, at the right time to make a pass breakup. But he does seem like I know corner people don't really care too much about this, but he seemed like he struggled a little bit in the run game. Like he would, great at pass, defending the pass. But whenever it came to the run, it seemed like he had trouble identifying the run. Um, but that's just one of the guys I, personally liked. I think he would add more depth to this cornerback room and maybe more competition. And but who's one of the guys that you liked in the unrestricted free agent signing?
Oh, Cam Allen, for sure. Oh my God, that guy he's a bull hawk, just interceptions, always watching the quarterback, always looking at what the quarterback is doing. I love him, really. I love him as a defensive back. We never like had a true one, you could really say, for years and stuff, but and see, I would give a lot of credit to George Payton. I mean, he's always good at these things. And maybe that's why he didn't get fired last season. I mean,
Yeah.
he's good. He's really good at finding, unrestricted free agents. But yeah, Cam Allen, oh my God, I'm really excited for him. Really excited.
Yeah, I hear you, man. Like the turnovers you were talking about and his vision, like that was one of the main things I wrote down. I was just watching him and he was just watching that quarterback, and he was always in the right place.
Exactly.
He like I said, like I was saying earlier, man, for Ellis, like the kid that came out and he has an eye for the football, man. He was
Exactly.
constantly creating turnovers, not just intercepting the ball, but even in the run game, just
Hmm.
going after it, knocking the ball out, even with receivers, just punching the ball out, man. He was creating turnovers like crazy. Now, I don't know how far his intangibles are. Like, I mean, he can read, he can knock the ball out, but I just don't think that he didn't seem like that great of a tackler to me. Maybe I just didn't see enough, but if he can work on his tackling skills, boy, he could be a solid corner in the NFL. I strongly believe that. Um, but one of the other unrestricted free agents I really, really like, kind of the same thing, but he can play in the run. It's a linebacker, Le'Veon Bailey. The kid can run, or he can play the run game. He can play the pass game. He's very good at defending the pass over the middle. And I'm just like, they should sign this guy. Like, I understand you brought in Burton, you got Alex Singleton. We don't really know what Drew Sanders is going to do. Like, I liked him off the edge last year. I mean, you got Jonas Griffith coming back. But this kid Bailey, man, he can play the pass, man. Like I watched him covering tight ends in college. He was all over him. And what's one of the main problems the Broncos have had over the last 8 years is covering tight ends.
I don't see. Yep.
You know, so I feel like if this kid comes in and he shows a little something, they could totally sign him to the roster, and I could see him possibly coming in, of course, as a backup, but eventually maybe getting a starting role. Like I said, he was dominant in the run game. He's got great, he's smart. He knows when it's a play or when it's a pass play, man. He was getting after the run game. Like I said, he could defend the pass. He was all over the tight ends and the slot receivers. I mean, I don't know if you've seen this kid, but I highly recommend to check it out, dude. He was really good.
I've seen some highlights. I like how he tackles. He's just a tackling machine, And like you said, he's always just looking at the quarterback. He's watching what the tight ends are doing. Run, he's really good. We really got something in there. We shall.
Um, any other unrestricted free agents that you like besides Cam Allen?
Um, the one I didn't really understand. I forgot the kid's name. Eddie, the wide receiver. He's like 5'7" or 5'8". You know what I'm talking about?
Lincoln Victor?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't really know about that one. That's a head scratcher for me. Like,
Well, I think what it is he can run. He's fast. He can catch, but he like whenever I seen him play on like they would put him on the perimeter sometimes, he wasn't very good. He was better in the slot,
hmm
honestly. And whenever they would run the ball, like his blocking was very lacking. Like, and I know Sean Payton likes that in a receiver. Like if they run the ball, he wants his receivers to be able to block. And he's not that great in the blocking game. But I mean, he was fast. Like just seeing his speed on film, man, he was just like boom, blowing, past the linebackers, corners, safeties. He was able to catch the ball, but man, he couldn't. He's just only good in the slot, and
exactly.
I don't know about that, man. Like, I mean, maybe we could, but like I said earlier, with so much depth in the wide receiver room, I
That's
just don't
why
see where you would fit him.
like I don't know. Like, hey, maybe they have a maybe they saw something we didn't see. But
Yeah.
Eddie, there's
Uh,
something I wanted to address that it's kind of been kind of bothering me. You know how I said I wasn't big at Bo Nix when they picked
yeah.
him, but as soon as they made that pick and I heard what Sean Payton was saying, I'm like, okay, I'm behind this guy. He's our quarterback, but I don't understand why Broncos country is just like saying all this, like, some people saying all these negative things and stuff. I'm like, dude, this is gonna be our quarterback. It's the end of the story. Like, he can't change it. So get behind him. Don't be saying all these negative things like they're wishing for him not to succeed or he's gonna be a bust. Come on. I don't get that.
Well, I've learned a long time ago. Like as you know, I mean, I don't remember if you were, but I was a huge Drew Lock supporter, and honestly, I never thought Drew Lock got a fair shot. Like the coaching staff here in Denver during his time here was just atrocious. Like they were like Fangio was a great defensive coordinator, but he wasn't very good as a head coach, and Pat Shermer was just I don't even know how the guy had the job in the NFL. Uh, but I think that's what people like. I think some people are just worried honestly, like, after all the quarterbacks we've drafted, I mean,
Mhm.
Brock Osweilers, the Paxton Lynches, the Drew Locks, none of them panned out. But I'm just like, yeah, Paxton Lynch was a bust. I mean, that was a surefire thing. Like, he had Kubiak as his coach and couldn't even win the starting job, and Kubiak was working with him. But Brock Osweiler, I I think he could have been something, but the coaching here in Denver was just not it. Like, we did not have the right coaches here in Denver during that time. Same with Drew Lock. We didn't like honestly, we did have the right coach and Rich Scangarello with Drew Lock. He was the OC during the 2019 season. Drew Lock balled in those last 5 games of 2019 with Rich Scangarello. But
Little
we
bit
know
of-
Vic Fangio, he doesn't want to pay attention to the offense. He wants to be the head coach and just worry about the defense and not worry about special teams or the offense. And that's what really screwed us over. Um, but with that said, I'm just like, I don't I think people just have PTSD. I mean, I agree with you. There's some people out there that are just, I don't think they're, I don't think they know what to believe. I think they're just being trolls whenever it comes to Bo Nix.
Mhm.
Personally, like, I understand the people that are worried about it, but it's like, if there's anybody you want to, uh, draft this guy and develop him, it's Sean Payton.
Okay.
But I've also heard a lot of people say, "Well, we don't know if Sean Payton could develop a quarterback." Yeah, we do. Like, I mean, no, like, I know Drew Brees was in the league for a few years after uh who was it? The Chargers drafted him, but they didn't really develop him. That he literally got hurt and then they let him go. Like, I'm not sitting here saying Drew Brees, couldn't have been a Hall of Famer without Sean Payton, but I'm also not saying that Sean Payton couldn't have been a Hall of Famer without Drew Brees. Like, they needed each other. But the fact is that Sean Payton gave a chance to a kid that nobody thought was going to do anything, and mostly because of his injury. Sean
Mhm.
Payton stuck by him. I remember watching Sean Payton the other day talk about it. How him and the GM at the time, drove up, I think I can't remember where it was, Alabama or somewhere, to meet with Drew Brees and his wife. Like, Sean Payton saw something in Drew Brees before anybody else did. The only other team that was interested in Drew Brees at that time was the Miami Dolphins. And he didn't go there. He went to, New Orleans. And also, I know a lot of people are going to say, "Oh, you're just nitpicking here," but Sean Payton, he knows talent in the draft whenever it comes to quarterbacks. I'm sorry, he does. Like, if what he said about, I'm not saying that Bo Nix is going to be Patrick Mahomes, like, people think whenever Sean Payton said, "Oh, I see the same things in Bo Nix as I saw in Patrick Mahomes." That to me tells me he knows what to look for in a quarterback in the draft and in college. He saw it in Patrick Mahomes. He sees it in Bo Nix. Not saying Bo Nix is going to be Patrick Mahomes, but he knows that the kid can be something in the NFL. I have no problem with Sean Payton taking him and developing this kid. Like I said, there's a lot of people out there I think are just trolls that just are going to hate just to hate. And then you got the other group of people in that aspect that are just like, they're just PTSD. They're just scared the Broncos took a quarterback too high, and you know we're going to be searching for another one here in a couple of years. And that's another thing. Oh my God. The second that kid throws his first interception in the NFL, Bo Nix, there's going to be people in this fan base crucifying that kid and Sean Payton.
Saying he's a
I mean,
bust.
absolutely destroying them.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I'm like, to that I said, like, would you guys have taken Josh Allen? Like, a lot of those same people would say, "Oh man, we should have Josh Allen in the 2018 draft." He wouldn't have lasted in Denver. One, because he didn't have the coaching, and two, this fan base would have ran him out of town after his first year.
Exactly. They'll start booing and doing all kinds of crazy stuff.
It took Josh Allen what 3 years to develop. I think honestly, most quarterbacks it takes them that long to develop. Some of them, they develop faster, but I'd say give the kid at the minimum 3 years.
Yeah. But
Maybe
see,
two.
that's
Yeah,
the thing, Eddie. Like, I don't have a problem if we don't win a lot of games. That's fine. We got our quarterback. Give him time. He can throw interceptions. We don't have to win a lot of games. Just give him time. And I believe Sean Payton will be able to develop him. So, why not?
yeah,
Like, we shouldn't be all negative about the whole situation. And it's not like you can change it. That's a reality. He's our quarterback. So let's accept it
yeah.
and get behind him. That's the whole thing. And like, we don't need any of this negative talk about this whole situation. That's what I have to
No,
say.
we don't.
Yeah.
No,
That's
I completely agree with you. And people are going to want him to, play, like CJ Stroud did last year. Just come in as a rookie and just ball out. I'm like, how rarely that happens for something like that?
Right.
Even Patrick Mahomes, to turn into the quarterback that he did, he sat for his first year. He played one game his rookie season, and that was against us.
Exactly.
It takes time. And even whenever Patrick Mahomes started in 2018 as the starter, like I remember the first half of that season, he was struggling a little bit.
Exactly.
I mean, it didn't take him 3 years to develop, but that first part of the season, he kind of struggled a little, and then he started catching it, and we know the rest is history. So, but I think what it is that with the CJ Strouds of last year, him coming in balling out like he did, Bo Nix being 24, 61 starts, all the talk, people are talking about, he's the most pro style quarterback, or he's the most pro ready quarterback. He played in a pro or NFL style offense at Oregon. He's 24, you know, he's got 61 starts, he's got all this stuff.
Mhm.
And with Sean Payton, with the kind of game that Bo Nix plays, that Sean Payton system, the kid should come in and ball out right away. Well, that's not necessarily true, because even some of the best players could take time getting acclimated to the NFL. Maybe it takes them 6 weeks. Maybe it takes them half the season. Maybe it takes them a full season. Maybe it takes them 2 years. I don't know. I'm not going to pull the plug. Like, I'm not that kind of guy. Like, oh my God, he threw one interception. The kid's trash. Get rid of him and restart over. I'm not that kind of a guy. Like, I'm going
I
to give
mean,
the guy time to develop. I'm like, what's another year of being bad? We've been bad for 8, but at least I got something to look forward to now.
all you need to see is progress, Eddie. Like, from
Yep.
one game to another, like that's all. Like, it's just gonna take time. He's still a rookie. Like, we should give him a chance. But like I said, I already know what's gonna happen. As soon as he starts
Yep.
throwing interceptions, like, here we go. Why did we pick him and all this?
Yep. The
We'll
second he
see.
makes one, like I can see it now. Like I will be on the Mile High Huddle page and probably on YouTube the night after the Broncos' first home game. If Bo Nix starts week 1, I will make a video that night after the game, and I guarantee you, if he makes one mistake, you go on Twitter, you go on Facebook, you go anywhere where there's a Broncos page to talk on. People are going to be crucifying this, like, oh, what is Sean Payton thinking? He screwed up. Now he put us, behind the 8 ball for another 5 years. He got the wrong quarterback. Sean Payton's washed. You're going to be
Mhm.
seeing all this stuff, and whenever Bo Nix comes in, throws an interception, takes a sack, makes one bad read or one bad throw. And I'm just preparing for it, man. Like I don't understand people. Like if you go into an industry, you're not going to be a superstar right off the bat. It's going to take you some time to learn things. Like that's just the way it is. Like you got to give this kid some time. Like they have to.
Yeah.
So
We are
I
in
just
good hands. That's the main thing, Eddie. Like, we got our coach, so that's what matters. Like, we got our coach. We are in good hands. It doesn't really matter. Before we didn't have a coach, so that's the thing. Come on,
yeah.
we came a long way.
And I know a lot of Bronco fans talk about, the curse, us being cursed over the last 8 years, thinking that we sold everything for Super Bowl 50. But if Bo Nix is the guy, like I think, I'm not saying I believe in that, but if the people that believe in it is true, maybe the curse is broken. Sean Payton broke that curse. But man, I love like I said, I love the entire draft class. Like, you
Mhm.
filled holes you needed. You brought in a lot of guys that have talent, that have skill, from the unrestricted free agency point. But I just, I just, I don't know, man. Like, I really hope some of these unrestricted free agency players hit. Like, it'd be nice, that way you won't have to worry about it. You get some of these guys in. I'm not saying they're going to be starters, but they could be very good backups and depth pieces on this roster. What do you
I'm excited
think?
about the rookie minicamp. It's coming soon. Is it next week or 2 weeks from now?
I'm not sure if it's next week or the following week. I thought it was like 2 weeks off or out from the draft, so it should be coming up this week, I would assume.
Oh, exciting! Can't wait.
And then before you know it, mandatory minicamp's going to be here, then training camp, and then preseason. Like, I mean, I like the only thing I don't like is the month of June because there's literally no news to report during the month of June.
True.
But you know, um, like I said, like I can't wait until the season starts. I can't wait until we see Bo Nix out there. just slinging the rock around. But like I said, I don't think he's gonna be doing it a lot. At least the first half of the season, he's gonna be, they're probably gonna be running the ball a lot. Just like I said, getting Bo Nix acclimated to the NFL. Just getting everything ready for him. And just doing that. I don't think he's gonna be slinging a lot, but by maybe the season's end, we're gonna be seeing a lot more of the ball getting thrown around. So
Exactly. Learning the playbook. The smart kid, he can process stuff, and like with Russell Wilson, they weren't able to do that. Just his style of play. So
yeah, and but I don't know, man. Like I just know like I said, it's gonna be funny to watch whenever you see all those haters coming out. But anyway, Mohammed, we've been going for about 50 minutes. I had a great time tonight talking to you. I hope this
likewise,
is a regular occurrence, man.
absolutely.
Like I said, you're gonna be my new co-host on here, but I had a blast tonight, man. We got through a lot. We talked about a lot. Any other final words you want to say before we get off here for tonight?
I'm just excited about the future, Eddie. That's the thing. Just positive energy all over Broncos country. That's all I want. I'm really excited. I'm excited to see what Bo Nix is gonna do. Excited about Estime. Excited about all the rookies that we have. So go Broncos.
Go Broncos. All right. Well, everybody, tonight, that was Colorado Sports Network with me, Eddie, and my co-host Mohammed. We got through a lot of good talking points tonight, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. And we will see you guys next week. Peace.
All right. See you.